Today's guest is Cheri Moon, a singer-songwriter originally from Memphis, whose career has moved across pop, dance, family music, and creative community building.
Welcome, Cheri, to the artist conversation.
Hi, guys. So good to be here with you.
It's great to have you. Super happy to have you, and thanks for coming in. Cherry, jumping right in, I want to start talking about the origin of everything, the range, and the identity. So your career has moved through so many worlds: pop, songwriting, dance music, family music, and community spaces for kids. So when you look back, did that range feel intentional from the start, or did your artistry keep evolving as your life evolved?
Yeah, I've definitely been on a long journey, both personal, and as well creatively. I would have to say my journey creatively just evolved as my life evolved, really.
Mm.
I've always been a musical soul, coming from Memphis, Tennessee, in the gospel world, singing with my family, and then it
Right.
just when I moved to New York, it just evolved to that, and then when I became a mom, it evolved into family music, so it keeps evolving.
That's amazing. And can you tell us a little bit more, like growing up in Memphis, surrounded, it's Tennessee and it's Nashville is right there. And, so can you tell us more, like how it was?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so different from what it is now for sure. But growing up in Memphis had such a huge impact on who I am as a person and
Hmm.
actually musically, which I didn't really think about until I think these latter years. Really, I started to think more about, wow, where these influences came from when I'm writing and actually when I'm singing, when I'm performing, and especially when I'm recording for some reason, a lot of this, like, a lot of soulful elements and a lot of like gospel elements come out that I really I didn't really think that I had. But
Hmm.
then when I think about it, and I'm listening to myself and I'm like, wow, okay, it's because these are my roots. These are my roots, and because the first stages of me getting into the music industry, I was more into the pop R&B, but mostly like, pop.
Hmm.
So I used the lighter tones of my voice, more
Mm.
staccato singing, less
Got it.
belting, less, just like holding notes. It was more like just like, keeping with the
Right.
groove and you know how the pop songs are. So I
Yeah.
got used to using that part of my voice more so, and so a lot of that soul and, gospel singing and real soulful R&B singing that I had trained myself on,
Mm.
as a young girl had kinda, like, been pushed to the wayside. So, now I'm using more of that voice, especially when I got into, like, dance music, which that was by mistake too, because I really never set out to do dance music or house music. It was just that I was writing these R&B pop songs, and then these DJs got a hold of it, and then it was like that's what it became, So it was just a regular structured song, and then these remixes came, and then it was like, "Oh, so okay, yeah." But I felt free though because I felt like I could just do anything. Because the pop
Mm.
world wants a certain sound, a
Right.
certain
Right.
delivery, whereas the music I'm doing now with, let's say, the dance and even with the family music, the children's music, it allows you a bit more freedom to kinda just be and do what you feel?
Hmm.
So that's really exciting to me.
That's pretty cool. And you've been singing since you were a kid. I mean, that's when you started leading
Yeah.
lessons, and yeah, okay, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's really early on. I mean, I think I don't I mean, my mom will probably say I've been singing since since the moment I came out of her womb. Um, yeah, it's just always been in me, and I've just always gravitated towards, listening to music, putting on records, looking at music videos. I was always excited about, all of that, even in school
Pretty cool.
when talent shows were available, I was the first one to sign up? So, yeah.
That's
That's
fun.
nice. That's nice.
Yeah. Cherry, you have written for a major collaborators and also built a voice as a solo artist. At what
Mhm.
point did you realize that your own artistic path wasn't going to live in just one genre?
Wow. Well, I kind of got into like I guess the proper music industry, I guess professionally,
Hmm.
when I was introduced to the Timbaland camp and Jimmy Douglas and got into that whole circle. And I was in a girl group at that point. And that's kind of where it really all began. Because I
Mm.
never really recorded
What
in the
what camp was
studio
it again?
professionally.
What
It was
camp
like
was
the
it again?
Timbaland, the producer Timbaland,
Yeah.
his
Okay.
camp.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was living in New York at the time. So, yeah, so that's kind of when I guess my career started because that's when I actually started recording professionally, writing even because I had never written before.
Mm.
So I was really heavily influenced by being around those amazingly talented artists and writers and producers. And like I said, I was in a girl group then. So, yeah, we were doing a lot of, like, shows and showcases and all of that stuff. So, that part was a real training session for me because
Mm.
that's where I learned to write. That's where I got my work ethic of, like, just constantly, writing and pumping out and flushing out ideas and that sort of stuff. Um, yeah, I mean, that was really a really interesting time. I mean, that was like I said, it was like a training camp for me, and then somehow I did my first, like, commercial where I was singing on a commercial, and that was with, the Timberland camp as well, and I did my first, jingle
Mm.
for the Joe Boxer and Kmart, commercial, and then that world opened up because it was just like, "Wow, oh my goodness, you can actually sing on commercials and write jingles," and so I did that for a
Yeah.
while, which was fantastic. Um, and yeah, it just kept things just kept kinda happening and doors kinda opening and meeting people and you're walking through these doors to explore, and then it just turns into something, really interesting.
Wow.
So so a lot of learning, you would say.
A lot of learning. It's funny because I used to say, "Oh, coincidences. Oh, coincidence. It
Mm.
was a coincidence I met this person on the train or I was in this place." And it's like, "No, all of this was actually meant to happen because
And
this is a part of my journey." It's a part of my journey, and all of it, every moment was a learning, situation for
of
sure.
course. And
Yeah.
must have been great, right? To because when you first said Timbaland, didn't register, but it must have been great to be hanging out with that crew and meeting new people over there, and everyone coming from different ideas. I'm sure what a learning experience. I mean, you said you would never used to write, and then you learned how to write. Wow, amazing.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it became, we were signed to his production company. Him and Jimmy Douglas were, like, kinda working together a lot, I mean, they were a team, essentially. So, we started writing, trying to write for artists that wanted him to produce for them. So we became
Mm,
kinda like their writing in their writing camp a little bit.
got it.
And we would just write for different artists just to try and get some placements, basically.
Yeah.
So we're doing that all the time. So we're pumping out songs, writing, and that was again a huge training camp for me because I had first of all never really written and then get going from not writing to writing every day and then
Mm,
recording all of the demos. So it was
Hmm.
really a lot of great moments that
very cool.
that I'm able to exercise now. So yeah,
Yeah. I'm sure there's a
it's
lot
great.
to take from there and apply everything you do today. That's awesome. That's awesome. Talking about the artist's journey today, the journey of being an artist in today's world, from your perspective, what feels most rewarding about it right now and what feels most exhausting?
Wow, how much time do we have so I can answer that question?
Oh no.
um Well, I mean, I think there were a lot of frustrations, in the earlier days for sure, because there were a lot of gatekeepers, right? So,
Hmm,
you had the labels, you had the managers, you had this, you had that. When I first started, there was no internet, there was no social media or any of that stuff. So you really relied upon the people who claim they can do these things for you, right?
Right.
and
Right.
waiting till you can get a deal, waiting till you get this, waiting. It was a call for me, the waiting game.
Mm.
So that was really frustrating, especially for someone like me, where I really do like to get things done. I have this anxiousness when it comes to something I'm passionate about. And I've always been very passionate about being an artist and being creative and anything, visuals, like whatever it is creative that I love. I'm
Mhm.
all in and I go for it. So it was really frustrating back then, just kind of like, playing the waiting game. Um and also I think, the way we looked at the industry back then versus how we look at the industry now, how we view and how we accept artists nowadays is completely different. I know one of the main aspects for me was the moment I became a mom.
Hmm.
Oh.
And I remember when I was pregnant, I hid my pregnancy.
Really?
I hid my pregnancy. Yeah, I did. I hid my pregnancy because I didn't want anyone to judge me. I didn't
Mm.
want them to think, "Oh," because it was like, "Oh," well, back then it was like, "Oh, you're a mom," then you almost got discredited as being an artist because then you have to be a mom. You can't be an artist. You can't be in the studio. You can't do this. You can't. So I felt like I had to hide that because I didn't want anyone to stop me from doing what I'm doing or limit me in my path. So, I hid my pregnancy. I would go to the studios and I record and act like nothing, I never told anyone. And even when I used to record the jingles, like they had no idea. And so, yeah, so whereas nowadays women are accepted as an artist to be moms, it's even a highlight. It's celebrated, which I'm so excited and I'm happy that that is the case. But I do have to look back on my own personal experience. I go, man, I wish it had been like that for me. It was a tough transition for me,
Mhm.
um, uh, mentally as well, because also a lot of my friends and a lot of people that I knew in the industry did not have kids, at all.
Right.
So suddenly went from, like, hanging out with people and this and that, and then I was like, I was a mom, I had other responsibilities. Then, I can't do this, I can't do that in my own time, so yeah, but what I did was what I wasn't going to, sacrifice was any studio time or any work time or anything like that, so I sacrificed my social life or,
Wow.
anything I did outside of the studio so I can maintain my
Mm.
work schedule or my work ethic, basically.
Got it.
Wow.
Got it. Wow, that
Mm.
must have been hard, though. I mean, of course, we've all heard those stories, about, oh, now then people are talking like, oh, I don't know if she's going to have time. And, she's got these other things going on in her life. And wow, but that must have been such what's the word I want to use? Like a downer, back then, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit depressing, I'd have to say, I don't
Mm.
know at the time that I knew it, but I did have a little bit of, postpartum depression. I didn't
Mm.
realize that's what it was at the time, but when I look back on it, I'm going, "Oh, yes, exactly, I have identified that, and I know what that is now, and I definitely that's what I had," and a lot of it had to do with the fact that I couldn't share this monumental moment in my life, you
Mm.
know?
Mm.
It's one of the most important things, a woman goes through, and it's like, here I
Mhm.
am hiding it from pretty much the
Wow.
world, you know what I mean? So,
Mm.
yeah, it was a very tough time, but I just kept pushing forward. I just kept going, and, I just didn't let it stop me, you know?
That's great.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Cer- Certainly, you had a very difficult journey, and from that whole difficult journey, you rise like a phoenix. That's what I can say. But really,
Well, I mean, you know what I had to do, and it took some time. It wasn't easy, that's for sure. I
Mhm,
went through a lot of emotional trauma and, just kind of transitioning from,
mhm,
being a single woman to being in a relationship and getting married and having a child, having children and trying to hold on to your career is a very tough thing to do.
mm.
Um especially when you feel alone in it too.
Mhm.
But I think that, that's where Snook Nook was born, and
Mhm.
I don't regret any of it because it made me grow.
Mm,
I've grown so much since those days I was in the studio, working with all these great, wonderful producers and writers, and I was in the group and all that stuff. I've grown so much, and I wouldn't change that for the world.
Mhm.
nice,
Understood.
nice.
So, in this hardship and this whole journey of your, what has that taught you about surviving as an artist without losing your sense of purpose?
I think, what it taught me is just you have to use
Mhm.
anything you're going through, good and bad, to fuel
Mm,
you because these are all these moments are never by mistake. They're always to make you, it's a journey to who you're meant to be, and
Mhm.
who you are, because you are always trying to arrive in, in your destiny, right?
mm,
So your center, yourself, and I was still trying to find my way. And all of those negative things, all of those emotional things really was for me they're like, trophies in my in my case that makes me who I am, so I don't look at it and go, "Oh man, I wish I didn't go through that." It's except for maybe, "Oh, I would have been great for to be able to talk about having a kid in public." Um but yeah, I mean, I just feel like still all of that, everything, every moment in your life, you have to appreciate, even if it's
mhm,
terrible, because again, it makes you stronger, it makes you wiser, it makes you
mhm.
who you are.
Yeah.
That's
Being
amazing.
a being a grateful is the most important thing in life. Otherwise, you
Hmm.
will just keep on what you can say, keep on
Chasing, you're
chasing.
like,
Yeah,
Yeah, keep
yeah,
on
yeah.
chasing for
yeah,
that never-ending path,
yeah,
never-ending goals. Exactly.
yeah, never
But
ending goals. You're in a rat
yeah,
race constantly. If you
yeah,
Rat
can't
race.
stop and
yeah.
if you can't stop and reflect and actually, go through those moments and appreciate, and what I had to learn actually too is celebrating those
Mhm.
moments. Even I don't care how
Mm,
small they are, celebration of any accomplishment is worth its weight in gold.
interesting. That's
Interesting.
that's really nice how you think about it that way. That's really nice. You know, talking about the journey still, you've had success in very different spaces from global dance hits to family music. So how do you stay
Mhm.
authentic when the industry often, wants artists to stay easily definable?
Yeah. It's funny because, again, that's another thing too. Like when I was talking about the gatekeepers and having to rely on the labels and, like,
Hmm.
what their guidelines are for being an artist
Hmm.
and what you should be putting out. And, I mean, I know the formulas are important and being consistent is important. But I feel like with today's world, and having social media and having, streaming platforms and other ways of launching careers, you have a bit more flexibility. So
Hmm.
that allows you to be able to do other things. You can actually think outside the box. You don't have to
Hmm.
be just like, smushed in this one little area, which I felt I was, which wasn't really serving me as an artist and as a creative. It
Hmm.
wasn't because I was, I was only using for me, I was only using probably 20 to 25% of my voice or 20 to 20% of my creativity across the board. Whereas now that I'm kind of dabbling in a lot of different things, I'm able to explore and spread my wings and actually see what else is in my war chest. I'm like
Hmm.
reaching down and going, "Ooh, I can do it," and I'm not, it's not like I want to explore things that I don't think I'm really good at, although I have done a little bit of that, but that's really pushing out things and exploring things that I think I'm strong at, my strengths, instead of
Hmm.
boxing them and caging them because I don't think that that's what people want to hear, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I think that the freedom in that is so it's
Hmm.
really liberating, and it has made me a happier person, it's made me a happier artist.
And do you think in these current times, well, I say current times, but of course the internet has been out for a long time, and so has all these streaming channels or what have you, and social media too. With now how a lot of things can be automated when it comes to, I mean, a one
Mhm.
person can technically in today's world run your entire social media and your advertising, everything, right? I mean, and automate things for you and everything. But so there is, do you think there's, based on what you were saying earlier, like you had to trust certain people back in the day and thinking that they're the best people, they know what they're doing and go with the flow kind of, that was that. But then do you think now it's scary in a way, but it's kind of a lot of exploration one can do,
Yeah.
and you can just take all these risks even yourself and be like, hey, I can be sitting in one room and still be doing this without meeting any people? Do you think that that has changed? Right, I mean, one person could be doing this
It
for you,
has.
right? I mean, we interviewed someone a few like a month ago, and he had like three people working for him, he said, in Mexico, and they were running his entire thing. One person was responsible for just handling his social media. One person was just
Mm.
doing getting the gigs and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think so.
Yeah.
I also look at it. I'm kind of curious to know how you look at it, since you come from those times when nothing was there, right? To today, do you embrace it, and do you kind of take it in a way where, like, yeah, sure, I can change with this?
I do embrace it. I mean, let me just tell you, I have a love-hate relationship with social media.
Love it.
I
I think we all
hate
do.
it, like, my god, I hate it. But
You're
at the
not the
same
only one.
time, I'm like yeah, I'm like, "Oh, man, well, it is useful." So it's like, it is useful, those are tools. I guess it's just really about, you gotta admit, it's time management is the number one factor, I think, for me, is time
Mm,
management. Because if you can use these tools that you have available to
mhm,
the best of your ability and master them where they work for you and
mhm.
not against you, then I think you're winning, right?
Right, right.
I think that it is easy to get sucked into having this tool kind of consume you, where you're doing more consuming than actually using it as a tool, right? Where like if you're scrolling too much and then you're just like you're stuck and you're all of this stuff that becomes a hazard. That's a problem.
Mhm,
So I try to balance it where I'm like, I use it as a tool for promotional purposes to connect. I use it for what it is meant for, but I try to limit myself a lot, and it takes some real resistance and some discipline, but yeah, I think that it's do I think it what do I feel like I don't want it to be here? No, I think it's great. I think people, again, if they use it the right way, then it's a great tool to have. And if you're
mhm.
focused and you are a go-getter, then you're gonna make it work for you.
Right, right. Agreed.
That's really good. You know,
Yeah.
uh, talking about this music value and representations, after starting a family, you stepped into children's and family music in a deeper way. What did that world allow you to express that your earlier work maybe didn't?
Well, yeah, I mean, stepping into the children's space and the family music space, I have to say at first, I felt like because I think I was coming from the jingle world, I was really like writing a lot of jingles, which is very repetitive. It's very
Mm-hmm.
catchy. It's hooks, right? So there's everything to capture people's attention right away to sell a product. So
Mm-hmm.
I went into children's music. I got into it on an honest mistake because I was writing hooks to teach my kids life lessons. So I started writing songs immediately as I became a mother, for kids. And I started out with just hooks. They were all just they weren't even finished songs. They were just hooks that I wanted them to melodies that I thought were catchy, words that I thought that could be repetitive and that they remember that would stick, to teach them, just the basic things, from taking a bath to brushing their teeth to eating vegetables to sharing,
Mm-hmm.
all of these things. So it was really just basic stuff at first where I was just like, okay, and it helped me as a mom because, you know, as you're talking to a kid and you're telling them things, it doesn't always stick right away. So you're having to repeat yourself constantly over and over again. So that's where the repetitiveness and the
Mm,
catchiness, it was stick in their heads. And then suddenly they're singing what you want them to learn,
mm,
So that's kind of how I was using it as a tool for myself. And I thought caregivers and moms and dads around the world could use as a tool. So that's how I was kind of looking at it as a business model. And then I was starting to flush out these hooks into full on songs. And the more I got into when I got into the studio and I started recording all the songs and then like, flushing it out and it would just they kept getting longer and longer and longer. So, then I felt like, "Oh, wow. There's an opportunity for me to maybe not only just sing these songs and add them to products or try to sell products and try to sell these, the concept." I was like, maybe actually presenting this as an artist might be a good way to do it. So I started doing that at my own children's preschools was where I started doing
mm.
hosting music classes, putting these songs to practice because I knew that they worked in my household. So I was like, well, let me just venture out and see where this takes me. And it just kept evolving. One school found out about it, then another parent invited me to another school, and I was going to multiple schools around Los Angeles and tiring myself out. So then that's where I opened the Snook Nook Cafe because I was like, well, I need to. 'Cause my husband was like, maybe you should just have a center where people come to you, so you're not running around with all these
You're not.
instruments and going to all these different places, and you're exhausted, and so that's where the Snook Nook Cafe idea came from. So I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So then that's where that came from, and then I opened up a cafe, and then I was in one place. Still had some schools I would go to, but then I would send other instructors to go to these schools. But I taught most of my classes at the Snook Nook Cafe,
And
basically.
where is that exactly in LA?
It was on Larchmont Boulevard, right behind. It's like between Beverly and Melrose, right by
Oh,
the
okay.
Paramount Studio. Very
I know.
central. Yeah.
I know exactly where that is. Yeah, I'm in Southern California, so I used to live in LA. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you
yeah,
know exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it
yeah.
was right there, and I would say the most rewarding thing about being a family music children artist is the expression on the kids' faces and the happiness they exude when you are singing or when they're dancing with you. When they're, I mean, it's the most exciting time.
That's amazing.
And kids they don't lie, they're the truth tellers. They do not hide anything. If they feel something, they're gonna tell you. If you suck, you suck. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so, I love that honesty,
We've had a few other guests on our show who do children's music, and they've told us exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
You'll know
Yeah,
if you suck. You'll hear from them.
you you will hear it and you cannot run away from it. So, um I think, also, again, Snook Nook is really about life lessons, teaching not only basic hygiene, but like mindfulness, social
Mm,
awareness, all of these things, So music is the best way to teach a kid or teach anybody. Cause again, it's memorization, it's the melodies, it's I call mine like edutainment because they're learning, but they're also being entertained, So I think that's the most rewarding thing about this new chapter for me is being able to not only have fun with it, but know that
mm.
I'm putting some good out into the world. I'm doing something. I'm helping the child. I'm helping the mom, the parents, the family. And, with this new album that I'm creating, it's now for older kids and their families. So I'm creating moments, bonding moments, important moments
Bonding
that I
mode.
think that they're gonna remember as they
Mm.
get older, that, "Wow, I learned this with my family. I listened to this with my family. This was the joy that I had when I listened to that and when we sang that together." So those moments are very special.
Very cool. Very cool. Amazing. You also said that family music is often underrated. So, why do you think children's music artists still aren't given the respect and visibility they deserve?
I think because a lot of people think that when people think in general of children's music, they think of, you know, generic music, you know? They
Mm,
think
mm,
that
mm.
there's no real musicianship, put
Ah,
into these songs. They think that there's no real songwriting. They think that I think a lot of people associate children's music with annoying sounds and like, just like I mean, I've literally had people tell me that, you know? So when and I never thought that myself, but I definitely did have a huge discovery in the last, I'd say since the pandemic, a huge discovery of just how expansive the children's music community is, and
mm,
especially with people all around the world and ethnic people all around the world.
mm,
That was very surprising to me to learn because I grew up on a lot of, famous names on television that I was looking at as a kid and this and that. And, I followed and, but now really, really deep diving and exploring all these different artists and what they have to say and what they're giving to the children. And so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it's real music. It's real music,
mm,
and there's so many genres, not only just folk, but, you have hip hop, you have pop, you have doo-wop, you have, like, I mean, everything, classical music, you have all of these
mm,
different artists doing different music for children and families, and it's just feel good. A lot of it teaches them important things, and yeah, I just think it's so looked over and not respected, um, and I think it needs to be because I feel like we're molding the next generation. Our music is the most important music, because this is what I know when I look back on the music that I listened to as a kid, I reflect on those things that I heard, what I learned from it, and then I use it to teach my own kids, you know? So this is very important time for a child for
mm.
memory and to learn.
Right, right. Hmm. Nice. And you're doing a great job. I mean, we need every children's artist that we've talked to. Just both of us, we've just. I'm not just saying this. It's like it makes you think. And people like us think like, wow, what a you're having fun, and you're really what you said earlier. Like you giving these kids in the right moment, the right time in their life, a reason to smile and to learn. And even and with that comes the families, right? With that comes the moms and dads and brothers and sisters and who have you. I mean, that's amazing.
That's
Absolutely. I mean, it's like a trickling down effect or a
Yeah,
trickling up. You know what I
trickling
mean?
up
It
or
goes
trickling down.
both
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ways, right? It's
Both
like
ways.
trickling
Yeah,
down, trickling up. Whoever's passing the baton, right?
sideways, trickling
Um,
sideways too, maybe.
yeah,
That's yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's
I
amazing
think
what you
and
guys are
it's
doing.
so important. Yeah, it's really important. I just think that people don't think about it in that respect so much because we're taught to really value what we hear a lot, right? Pop
Mm,
music, everything that we hear on the radio, what's being pushed down our throats the most, And so we idolize that. So we idolize that and not really think about what's some of the things that are left behind or buried that's really important. And children's music and family music is important.
is
It
important.
is, and I keep saying this, it is the most important music, I believe, that we should be, rising and uplifting and pushing out
Mm,
more.
mm.
So
Nice. Very cool.
very nice. Cherry, talking about your new family album, All in Good
mhm.
Time. It's feel
Yeah.
like an important next chapter for you. So, what deeper intention is living inside this project? And what do you hope families feel when they hear it?
Well, I mean, this is definitely a turning point or a different chapter for me as Snook Nook and as a family music artist
Mhm.
because my music with Snook Nook, I've written it in stages. It has grown with my
Mhm.
kids pretty much. So, like, the first album is when, they're babies into the toddler stages, and then the second album is from, like, toddlers to when they're starting school, so they're, like, around 5, 6, and then this next album is for older kids. Although
Mhm.
I say it's music for all ages because it is really feel-good music, at the end of the day. It's just not, yeah, it's just not where the topics are not, brush your teeth and sharing and, you know, uh, going to the park necessarily. It's more these topics I'm talking about is freedom of expression, for instance,
Mhm. Mhm.
being patient, learning to say things when something's wrong. I have a song on there called Say Something. It's like, not being quiet when you feel like something's going on, actually saying something and and
Mhm.
and getting other people involved to help you if you need.
Mhm.
It's a lot of that. So it's older, I guess older, subjects and topics that I think will resonate with older kids, tweens, and with families, and even adults
Yeah.
can take some of these messages, and it might inspire them to be more open with their friends, with their families, but also with their kids. So, yeah, this is an important album, and the title is I think nails it because it's something that I have to remind myself of all the time, even as an adult. It's called All
Mhm.
in Good Time, and
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
really is about, just letting things take its course, letting time do its job, right? Not rushing the process,
Mhm.
believing in the fact that what's meant to be will be, and you will get there, you know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
not to cut things too short, so all of that and that the process of actually doing music for kids and actually this last album all in good time has it was a journey. It was a journey,
Mhm.
and, that's where the title came from because I had to keep reminding myself to be patient, to let it
Wow.
come. Let you
Wow.
know what I mean? All of these things, and we all need a bit of that, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you want
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything now. You want that new job promotion, you want it now, right? I want this accolade and I want it now. You get impatient and it's
Uh-huh.
like, it'll happen. You believe it, it'll happen. Keep working at it.
Keep working at
Keep
it.
doing
Yeah.
what you're doing. Yeah. So that's what the overall gist of this album is about, but then there's like little messages in between with each song, which is incredible. As I think I mentioned that Lucy Calentari is producing this album, and
Mhm.
there's some fantastic collaborators on this album that I'm excited about. I can't mention everybody right now, but it will the next single will be coming out June 5th. It's called Do Re Mi. I can say that Do Re Mi, and this one is about the freedom of expression, and this is where I have the Stax Academy Kids Choir in Memphis
Oh,
on this
wow.
Oh.
song.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we recorded it. We recorded it down in Memphis at the
In
Stax
Memphis.
Museum, the
Mm.
historical Stax Museum. So I'm super excited to have them on board with this. And also have Kwame, who is this legendary rapper, with his amazing flow and bringing his words to this message has been incredible. And also Pierce Freelon is a part of this as well as another
Oh, really? Yeah.
children's
Oh.
artist. Yeah. So all of these element added flavors just really takes it to this amazing level. And we're doing the music video, June 9th, I think is the day we're gonna be recording that, filming that in Memphis. We're flying in for
Uh-huh.
that, and we're recording it at the Stax Museum, which the honor. I mean, I just can't even believe that this is actually happening. That's why I feel so, I know that this is the right place and the right time for this album because I'm digging back to my roots growing up
Mm.
in Memphis and bringing a lot of my influences as a kid in Memphis to this album and this project, and I hope it resonates with everybody, So I didn't know that I was gonna have Stacks involved, and just to have them now aligned with this is just like, wow. Wow.
That's nice.
So, yeah,
Good for you. Well,
yeah.
all the best. And it sounds like a fun road ahead and a lot of fun times ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be really fun. I'm just super excited. Um, yeah, I mean, again, I'm just kind of letting. I'm working, right? But I'm just letting the universe kind of like let things align and take its
Hmm.
course.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Actually, we interviewed P.S. Prilon, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago only.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
and the more
Yeah.
That's cool.
interesting part is his episode is actually releasing in this week.
Is
Yeah.
what is it?
It's his
His
episode
episode
is
is
releasing
in this week
on
only.
Friday. Friday
Oh,
we
Yeah.
release.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. It
That's
was fun to
So
exciting.
talk to him.
I'm
Yeah.
excited to see that interview.
Hmm.
yeah. Really great.
Yeah, he's
And
great. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
yeah,
It was great talking
totally.
to him. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really interesting that how we artists view our music and create our music from our day-to-day life. Like you, as you said, like while your kids were growing up, you are writing the music for every album for their every age. So it's really, I like this part of of being an artist. So it's
Yeah.
really inspiring to listen to such stories from like how everyone is weaving their music to make their own expressions and make their own identities. It's really wonderful, Sherry.
Yeah, well, it's really
Mm,
funny because I know when I
mm,
first started writing Snook,
mm,
again, these songs just came to me in the course of like the days with my kids and the moments, right? So
Mm.
they were really just natural things that were coming to my head and coming up with melodies and that sort of stuff in the moment, you know. So this has been a natural evolution for me. Um,
Mhm.
and even getting to this third album, I was thinking, gosh, what do older kids want to listen to? How do I do that? Because at this age, they're like you're competing with pop music. They're already listening to, Ariana Grande and like all these people, right? So I'm like, what am I gonna say that's gonna make them stop in their tracks and want to listen?
mhm.
Well, you know what? I got something for you because I brought a little gospel, I brought a little Motown, I got a little doo-wop for you, and everybody in the family is gonna dance to it. So they're gonna dance, they're gonna listen, and they're gonna enjoy, and it's gonna be a moment. So, and I didn't know how I was gonna actually write it because I was like, oh, because these ideas, they need to come organically, right? And they
Right.
have,
Right.
they really have, without me forcing it. I
Mhm.
just take from my moments with my kids and situations and thinking about my childhood and like, things that are happening in the world with kids and like what else can we give them tools they can use to help them feel better about themselves
Mhm.
and build more self-confidence and, you know, have more freedom of expression. How do they do that? So, yeah, I'm really grateful for the universe for bringing me to the universe for bringing me to this moment because this is
Very cool.
very important. Yeah.
Really cool, really. Sherry, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We really appreciate the honesty, heart, and the creative courage you bring to your work and to the
Oh,
many chapter of your journey. Really, thank you so
thank
much.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much for reaching out and having me come on and talk to you guys and rant on.
No, it was just great talking to you. I mean, we love talking to everyone we've talked to so far, and people who are going to be on the show. So for right now, like this conversation, talking to you, it's just a reminder that artistry isn't always linear. Sometimes it expands, transforms, and comes back even stronger. Thanks so much for sharing your journey.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for giving artists like me a voice to, and time to
Mhm.
share the journey.
Absolutely,
No.
our pleasure.
Yeah. And to everyone listening, thank you so much for being here with us. Please go check out Sherry's Instagram page, her music on Apple Music, Spotify. Go check out her website. She do wonderful work? Like I am listening to her from quite a while, and that's why I was when I first saw her profile, I was like, okay, I want to approach her. Like, let's see if she replies and whether she like to come on the show. So thank you so much, Sherry, and everyone, please go check out Sherry's work. And please, if this resonated with you, please share it with someone, and we will see you in the next episode of Artist Conversation.